Hey, yo, Schizo Jits here. Just got back from Vegas. UFC 296, great card. Last card of the year. I mean, this card started off, I mean, freaking amazing. It didn't end so well. We all know Kobe shit the bed. Put it in Connor's word. He shit the bed, in the main fight. Didn't do much for the first 3 rounds, but I'll get to that because this whole card was pretty stacked and it was a banger. Banger of a night. Crowd was amazing. We had the Don in the house, Donald Trump. President Trump, what I mean? That was crazy. I mean, he got the biggest ovation of the night. I mean, everyone was on their feet shouting for Trump, even the haters. I mean, if you're saying F you, Trump, you're still, everybody was on their feet kind of pretty much, doing that, talking to people in the bathroom line, Canadians, they were even like, we don't mind Trump with the whole grab you in the pussy comments, all that. Like they were talking about, it was a fun night, you know what I mean? Just a little weird, like I said, the card ended kind of like a weird vibe to it right at the end. Like Kobe just didn't show up, but like I said, I'll get to that. It started off good though. We had Martin Budai versus Shamil Gaziev, and that guy Shamil came in banging. He was throwing some bombs right from the start, backing up Martin Budai, and he just kind of wasn't really throwing back, to be honest. Like he just was not fighting back, and he was just kind of a punching bag moving forward. Like it looked like he didn't want to engage, and Shamil put it on him. Like he was just throwing a lot of power shots, outlanded him like crazy. I mean, 114 strikes to 26. I mean, 60 total landed for Shamil, only to 8 or no, 13. And 49 of those were significant strikes, as compared to 8, you know what I mean? And they were all hard shots. These guys were huge, you know what I mean? These are huge heavyweights. And, Shamil got the finish. Very impressive stuff there. And that was to open the fight, right? That was to open the gates, right? Right out the gates. I mean, these guys came out banging with the finish. Then we had Andre Touchy Fili against Lucas Almeida, which was another good fight, man. It was Andre Fili. He needed that win. He came out, did his thing with that first round TKO with a nice picture perfect right hand. As I think Almeida was opening up, he kind of snuck one in there real quick. Perfect right hand, dropped him, and just finished him. And then yeah, unbelievable. Andre Fili definitely needed this win. I'm not sure if he's still at Team Alpha Male. He was there for a minute, so I think so, though. That's Team Alpha Male did very good on this card. Let's just to say the least. They both got finishes and they both freaking knocked shit out. Knocked their opponent out, I should say. But yeah, then that led us to Tagir Olembekov against Cody Durden, and that was a decent fight. Tagir got the submission victory in round 2. I mean, that was the one I think I might have got up to go to the bathroom, to be honest with you. But I mean, I did see it. I know. You know what? I was in line to grab this hat. Actually, yeah. The only thing I actually bought from UFC 296 T-Mobile. But yeah, I was in line for that one, so I was kind of a little bit watching it from the little screen and back and forth. And yeah, that was about it. But Takir got the win. Like I said, another finish. You know what I'm saying? Like right off the gate, 3 in a row. It was just starting out like, man, because I had a bet going on. I had a parlay going. I had Tony Ferguson and Patty Pimblett going the distance and Kobe winning by a decision. So I had that parlay that could have got me $600 for $100. It was not bad. Not a bad bet if you're thinking, like who, how, if it went decision in the main event, we're thinking Kobe probably, implement his will, wrestling, all that. So, but like I said, I'm not getting ahead of myself. That fight was just been out. It's been on my mind this whole time ever since it happened. Just because I was just kind of, I won't say in shock, but just weird, a weird fight. But anyway, the regular prelims came. Casey O'Neill, Ariana Lipsky. That fight was crazy. These girls came out. They both came out. One, I can't even think. Lipsky came out to maybe some crazy gangster type music. I don't remember. I think O'Neill came out. They both had some hip hop type vibe to them. You could tell they're both ready to scrap and throw down. Casey O'Neill a little bit quicker with the combo, was in and out movement, or trying to anyway. Lipsky was throwing bombs. She did a little bit slow. She did look a little slower than O'Neill, but Lipsky has big powers. We know she got some shoulders. She's cutie, but she's little. She got some shoulders on her and some arms and some power, and she really like kind of plants herself and throws bombs. So and she eventually just started landing some big shots. And what I liked about her that she did a lot was like when she would throw a big combo, it would always like end with a kick, like a head kick, just like or a side kick, to the body. I mean, too. either the body or the head. Like always end it with a kick, and I like to see that. I like to see even when you land a big shot, don't end it there, just boom, like because it's just you're breaking down your opponent that much faster and with those type of combos and exchanges. And Lipsky was doing that. Everything with power. We all know she's the queen of violence for a reason, and another big win for her. I think she did get a performance bonus for that fight. It was a good fight. What was going on? Oh no, actually she won with an armbar. That's right. I forgot. She actually didn't knock her out. Round 2 came in and she got her with an armbar. It was kind of almost like a half omoplata. I remember now. Like turned, like her leg was kind of wrapped around the shoulder, and kind of went belly down with it. And then Casey O'Neill's arm, you could tell she had really good flexibility in her elbow and her arm. She was kind of, I mean, you could just tell the way Lipsky had her arm, her leg, thighs wrapped around the upper shoulder, and really kind of, you could tell, probably had a good squeeze, with her thighs right there, trapping that and just using that fulcrum to just, Casey O'Neill did have good flexibility, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you just could just 2-on-1 with that, with 2 hands on one, and you got like that fulcrum, it's almost like a straight armbar slash. It looked like a weird angle, like because it was almost an omoplata type situation, like the way how high she had up on the shoulder and the arm, but she was able to, she tapped her from armbar. Those are scary. Belly down armbars. It wasn't like totally belly down, like all the way down, but it was kind of, because she was so high up, but those are scary right there because you can't tap fast enough on those sometimes because you could get your arm snapped. And O'Neal was, she was doing good. I mean, she was doing good in and out. She was landing a couple combos, but Lipsky from the start, you could tell, had more power and was landing bombs, so you kind of tell, it was kind of, Lipsky will come in with, good movement, be fast with it, but then Lipsky come in and with the boom and just all of a sudden stagger or hurt her, what I mean? So you could tell who had the power, who didn't. Casey O'Neill probably had to have a little bit more stick and move and just not get hit with anything big, but like I said, Lipsky was there to kill, She was banging, what I mean? She was banging, and she was banging, throwing them things. But that leads us to Cody Garbrandt, the second fight on the prelims against Brian Kelleher, which, man, dude, Cody, he needed this win too. There was another guy, Team Alpha Male. So actually there were 3-0 on this card. Against Brian Kelleher, Brian Boom Boom, and it was a pretty good fight. Like you tell, Brian's obviously a vet. He's seasoned. So I mean, he does know not to just sit there and stand and bang with Cody because Cody's got some. He showed his quick hands again. I mean, he was quick combos. But the one thing I didn't like, he still throws them from the hips and leaves himself open up top. Fortunately for Cody, Brian wasn't really able to capitalize on that, today and, tonight. I mean, last night, now. Now I'm home. It's Sunday now. So we had to take, total strikes, only 21 to 29 for Kelleher. So he was pretty accurate. 21 to 42 for Cody. No love. And it was no love, but he got a lot of love after that. And, he deserves it. I mean, I always felt bad for Cody because it's like this guy was a state champ wrestler. Started off like 30-1, I think it was, as a pro fighter, has some boxing experience, unbelievably fast hands. I mean, he rose to the top quick as well just because he had devastating knockouts, all first-round knockouts, finishes, fast as shit. TJ Dillashaw kind of got in his head, and kind of just, really I don't want to say took his chin or anything because today, I mean, last night he did take some shots from Kelleher and was able to withstand it and come back, with his own. So, in the fire, which is good, because that's the one thing. It was like, man, as he got a little, after TJ knocked him out a couple of times, it's like he started taking some knockout losses and just getting rocked more. But good to see Cody back in the win column and I'm surprised he did not get a performance bonus. Like, I think the UFC, all the finishes, especially if it's like some devastating type finish, like, man, come on, you got to give him a bonus. I mean, on that, especially Cody, he came in with some fire. Great speech, great everything, good energy all the time, every time he fights, and then we had that one. So, congrats to Cody Garbrandt. Great performance. See what's next. I mean, he looked great, so, yeah, I was happy for him. That brings us to Irene Aldana against Cara Rosa. This fight was an absolute banger for the women. Cara Rosa came out. I mean, Irene Aldana, for those who don't know, she's basically a boxer. Really long legs, long limbs. She's tall for the division. This is at bantamweight, 135. and she has some good movement in and out. She's always constantly high guard like this. She can actually, yeah, she does keep her guard like a little too high, I think, because sometimes it kind of seems like she was like leaving a lot of stuff open, and Carol Rosa was taking advantage of that with leg kicks. Like, so, I mean, I've never seen anyone eat so many leg kicks as Aldana did. I mean, both sides too, the inside leg, outside leg. And that was the one thing I kept screaming, like, or not screaming, but talking to everybody on the road. We're talking about the fights, like switch it up, man. Like, I'm not saying maybe the leg kicks weren't affecting her as much, but she did get dropped one time with it. You could tell she was in pain. Her legs were getting beat up, and that's damage. And it seemed like she was constantly just boom, boom, and just getting leg kicks, especially for the first like 2 rounds, until Rosa kind of started slowing down. But there's 204 significant strikes for Carol Rosa. I mean, out of 350, she outlanded Aldana. Aldana had a little bit more up top, headshots with her boxing. She landed 145 out of 308. But 58% for Rosa because it was leg kick. It was like rinse repeat, like literally every single time. Aldana would throw, and she would always kind of cover up like this. Like Carol Rosa would just throw whatever out there and just leg kick. Anything, leg kick, like just constant with the leg kicks. I mean, like looked like Edson Barbosa out there with those leg kicks, and you could tell it was damaging Aldana. The problem was I think Rosa slowed down a little. Like midway through the second, she started to slow down, and Aldana started catching her on the feet. But I think Aldana could just get into boxing, man. I mean, obviously she's good at, in MMA, UFC. She contended for, she competed for the belt, and lost. But I'm saying, like, she's such a good boxer, like, because she does have that, but the thing is, like, with those long limbs and long legs, it's like, I would have liked to see some more kicks from her, as far as just front kicks, like the Sparta kicks, or just some teeps, or whatever, like, just come in here and throw leg kicks. She has long legs. You use that range a little more that way, but I think she's just so good at the boxing. Her boxing is so good that she wants to just in and out, throw combos, and she does throw a lot of combos. I mean, she's a beast. But I would just like to see her mix it up a little more, even with the takedowns. I mean, just to keep Carol, or her opponents honest, because, like I said, Rosa was throwing freaking bombs. I mean, and she was just throwing leg kick. It was just crazy. I never seen anyone eat that many leg kicks, and she was damaged, so I felt like the first round went Rosa, and like I said, as she started to slow down, I think Aldana started taking over and putting a lot of damage on her face and just kind of wearing her out. Like, she was visibly staggered a few times, and it was a good fight. It was a banger. That was a great fight. The prelims, that was the best fight, I think, as far as just 3-round war. And and I read it. Aldana got the decision. So that was good for her to get back in the win column. I don't think Rosa loses too much from this just because it was such a banger. And she'll get a good matchup next time as well. And that brings us to the featured prelim fight. Alonzo Menafield against Dustin Jacoby. I think Menafield, he was actually on the Contender Series, and that's how he got his contract. And Jacoby was a glory kickboxer, actually got knocked out but fought with Alex Bahia. So that shows you he's on that type of level of striking. And it really showed in the first round and a half. Really throughout the fight, you could tell Jacoby just was a more seasoned striker, just with his footwork, with his timing. Menafield, as we all know, he throws everything with bad intentions. He's an explosive athlete. He's coming in for the kill all the time, and he did a great job as well. Like, any time that he would actually just let off and just throw, even though it would explode and just throw some combos, you could tell it really affected Jacoby. Dustin would get hurt every time he would get hit. He would kind of get staggered back to the cage, or you could tell he was visibly, he was damaged, And it kind of took its toll. Like, first round, I felt like Jacoby was kind of put on a clinic almost. But like I said, every single time Menafield would land something, even if it was kind of on the gloves, because he had good defense, Jacoby did, and it would still affect him, And Menafield kind of took over a little bit third round, like really rocked him a few times. And there was a couple times where I thought he was going to finish that fight, finish Jacoby. That just shows how tough Jacoby is as well, to be able to take that and still survive the fight. And so that was another decision. So up until then, we had nothing but finishes, but the last 2 prelims, we had a decision. So Menafield got that one. And that was a good fight. That was a good fight too. Like I said, all the way up, they were still good fights. It was still a good fight. It was entertaining. They were throwing bombs. They were trying to take each other's head off. like I said, Benefield throws everything with bad intentions, trying to kill you, and it spends a lot of energy, but he was still there at the end and finished strong, got the win. All right, yeah. So that brings us to the main card, which started off with Josh Emmett and Bryce Mitchell. And Bryce Mitchell took this fight on short notice. It was originally supposed to be Josh Emmett against Giga Chikadze, which I think got injured in training. Yeah, so he wasn't able to make that fight. So Bryce Mitchell, he's always a guy who's like raises his hand, put me in, coach. He's always ready to go, wrestling with his freaking farm. He got that farmer strength. He's great, good grappler. So I mean, he's always ready to fight. I'm always ready for a good scrap. He's just got that good energy about him. Really likable. Like, I mean, he has a little wacky with this. Well, I don't want to say wacky because I believe, I follow conspiracy type stuff too. But yeah, he's into that type of stuff. Yeah, Josh Emmett came in, and this was a fight where Josh Emmett had a full count. I'm not making any excuses for Bryce Mitchell. I mean, because we all know Josh Emmett is a lightweight in a featherweight body or whatever, or he's only a featherweight for, minutes, and he goes back up to freaking welterweight. I don't know. Thick boy, always hit hard as hell. I mean, the hardest puncher in the division, no doubt. There's no way to dispute that. Like I said, he's a lightweight. He has that lightweight power, and he brought that down. Josh Emmett is a type of fighter. Usually when the guys lose weight, cut weight, and go to a lower division, it seems like their power's not there as much. The speed, or they just maybe a little too drained. Josh Emmett took that power with him. I mean, he's got a natural gift that way. Those heavy mids. I mean, he always had that he has that devastating power. Lost a couple, a little skid. He's had, going against Taporia, his last fight, and just getting pretty much destroyed. But in this fight, Josh Emmett looked amazing. Came in with, I mean, this was what, like a minute something in. It was really quick, this fight. I mean, he only landed 2 out of 10 strikes. It only took 1. So, and Bryce Mitchell did it. Yeah, a minute 57 into the first round. So it was really early. Obviously, there's going to be a filling out process because Bryce Mitchell is a grappling heavy. He's not known for striking, and Josh Emmett, Team Alpha Male, he has wrestling background, so they're definitely training that. So he's always on his game with that as well, even as far as just being take down defense and keeping himself, standing, where he wants to be. Because like I said, he's got 2 H bombs right here, Dan Henderson had that right hand H bomb. This guy has power in both hands. And I mean, I'm just saying, man, Josh Emmett with an unbelievable knockout just slept him. I mean, Bryce Mitchell was like dead rat style, just, stiff, convulsing. I mean, it was kind of scary and it was sad to see because, like I said, who doesn't like Bryce Mitchell? I like Bryce Mitchell, great fighter. I was just like, man, happy for Josh Emmett at one point. And at first he's like, rah, there's like a picture of him like yelling at him. But 2 seconds later, he's just like worried about him after that because it's like, obviously still a human being, but, you got that adrenaline pumping and he likes to knock people out. Obviously, he's done it so much in his career. And I mean, just only took 1 shot, had 1 shot dead, 1 shot, 1 kill. And thankfully, Bryce Mitchell, he did go to the hospital. Dana White said in the press conference, main card, he was already back, and fine, released. So he was fine, but it did not look good because he was out for a minute. Like I said, I was there live. He was out there for a minute. We were just all kind of like tripping, like, damn, he was out, but that was crazy. But I mean, unbelievable knockout for Josh Emmett, knockout of the night, finish. I mean, he made the biggest statement, biggest splash. He's right back in the mix. I mean, you cannot be short notice or not. He was still ready to fight whoever they put in there. And like I said, he knocked Bryce Mitchell the fuck out. It was bad to see. Bryce can definitely have to take some time off now. But I mean, because like I said, I like him. He has a great personality, all that, and he's a good fighter. I like that. He don't care to fight anybody. And but this one was just, man, it was kind of a tailor-made matchup, I think, for Josh Emmett. And the thing is, with Josh Emmett, he has such devastating power, and he put the lights out. That brings us to Tony Ferguson, Paddy Pimblett. This is the fight I was hoping to go the distance. Was not looking good. Paddy Pimblett comes out, corn rolled out, laser focused, and Tony. I mean, like Tony, it looked bad right from the start. Paddy came in, landed big shots. every time they would kind of just exchange in the middle, Tony came out with a lot of pressure, as he always does, coming forward. But it's still the same thing. You got to get, not the hands down type style. He's awkward. He's moving around. He's like breakdancing and fighting in there, and Patty was just getting the better of the exchanges, just landing bigger punches. And it was just, man, it was hard to watch because it was just like, no, like, I didn't even care about the money at that point. It's like Tony's one of my favorite fighters, so I'm not thinking like, oh, I just want like, oh no, you got to survive. I mean, of course, I'm like, yeah, come on, just hang on. But I was rooting for him too. I'd rather have him win, even if you got to finish or something. Or I'm not even saying I was rooting against Patty like that, because Patty showed that he's cool too. You know what I mean? Like he gets a lot of hate for the Jaron Gordon performance. He had one bad night, yeah, I felt like he lost that fight, should have got an L, but I mean, he's still a good personality, likable guy, very respectful, humble. When people are talking shit, of course he's gonna talk shit back, but he was humble with this. I mean, great victory. I mean, he did tire himself out, probably blew his wad trying to finish Tony, because he rocked Tony early. Like, it seemed like every time they exchanged, like in the center or wherever, it seemed like just Patty was, obviously he's younger, hungrier, whatever, and he was able to like hurt Tony every time he would land anything. Like you could tell there was a visible reaction out of Tony. Like, it was like, damn, he's hurt. Like, oh my god, like I thought it was gonna be done. Like, oh shit, he's gonna finish him right now. And like the first 2 rounds at least, it was kind of like survival mode for Tony. To like just kind of get out of the round. He's getting, he's getting outworked. He's getting ground and pounded. And Patty showed some vicious ground and pound. He looked good everywhere, honestly. I think if he hadn't like blew his wad or gassed, in that fight trying to get the finish, yeah, I mean, maybe he would have got the finish, in the second or third round if he didn't just try to go for it so hard. And obviously, Tony Ferguson, we all know, puts on a fast pace himself. I mean, if we would have seen like RDA Tony, I mean, that guy was like almost unbeatable right there, unstoppable force of just, it's just sad. And ever since the Justin Gaethje fight, it's just been nothing but downhill since then. That was a fight that could have been stopped maybe a round before. I mean, that was a fight where he was too tough for his own good. Took a lot of years off of his career or whatever, or just kind of just been a downward spiral ever since. But he still shows like that he's has a lot of heart. He's no quit in him. You know what I'm saying? He trained with he became a Navy SEAL for this fight. You know what I mean? He trained with David Goggins. So I mean, I'm not, and maybe that was detrimental to him because it's such a physical. His Hell Week that no one's ever passed but Tony. So maybe it was just, too much on his body. But I don't think so, because he was still able to recover after getting battered and survive. And that was good. It showed a lot of heart that he still has no quit in him. You know what I mean? And that says a lot, because a lot of people will quit, like, or not show up. And every time he's at least showing up, he's giving it his all. That being said, I do feel like like, you can't say when someone comes hang him up, man. Like, go do some jiu-jitsu tournaments. You're still a huge name. I mean, you're a huge fucking name. So I get so much respect. Make money another way. I know you like to fight, like to do this thing, but there's like, 6, 7 in a row. It's hard to watch as a fan, like I've seen him since Ultimate Fighter days, I mean, I would just wish he'd use his wrestling more. I'm like, this guy's a national champ wrestler level, freaking. I'm not sure exactly where. I can't remember that, but also, under Eddie Bravo, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, used to box also. I mean, he has all the skills and tools to do it. Just father time caught up with him. He got a little older, took a lot of devastating losses, and yeah, I mean, Patty looked great. Not to take anything away from Patty. I mean, he looked freaking phenomenal. He's right back. He had that one setback with Jared Gordon, even though he won the fight. Technically. It wasn't the best performance, but on this fight, I mean, he was super impressive in my eyes. I mean, everywhere. Ground and pound, ground game, just the control. Like, it was just constantly in danger. Everything he landed was vicious on the feet as well. I mean, he did gas a little bit, so, but obviously he was on top of it. He had almost finished Tony Ferguson in the first round. So, of course, he's going to go for broke, and almost gassed out. So he gassed out a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, congrats to Patty Pimblett. Like I said, great speech afterwards, post-fight interview. And, yeah, he's going to keep rising to the top. I see that. Yeah, and that brings us to Shavkat Rakhmonov and Stephen Thompson. Yeah, we had a couple of those guys with the hats, the Shakov hats there behind us, sitting us behind us, and walking up, too. Actually, was walking up to T-Mobile with some of his homies from back there. Kazakhstan, and they were just, yeah, they were cool as hell. We were just talking to them, oh, you're asking where we're from, all that stuff. We were just talking, and and they were asking who I thought was going to win. I thought Shavkat was going to take this one. I predicted that, but I didn't think he would get the finish because Wonder Boy's so tough to finish. I mean, you could weave him, you could do all kinds of stuff, and choking and stuff like that. Usually he has really good takedown defense and submission defense. So like first round wasn't looking too great right from like as far as Shavkat just imposing his will and being crazy. And like he was, like Wonder Boy did a good job, and with his awkward karate style and stuff, he does give everybody problems at first. You got something you got to adjust to, and he always had good takedown defense and submission defense. But overall, just Shavkat was just too much and just on the ground, he was just like, because like I said, nobody's done that to Wonder Boy. He was on the ground with Tyron Woodley, black belt jiu-jitsu, all-American wrestler. I mean, from Missouri, just a beast, athlete as well, and wasn't able to finish Thompson or just keep doing it, rinse, repeat, taking him down and destroying him like that. And that was in his prime. It was, and Shavkat came in and was able to do that. And I think it was more like a face, I don't want to say a face crank, face squeeze, or maybe almost a neck crank where either, it's such a tight squeeze where you could actually break these or even that, like, even if it don't, like, if you still got it here and you're getting the blood, I don't think it was a blood choke. I think it was more just like a crush, but like either jaw and, neck crush and, whatever it was, like I think a crank, type thing. It wasn't so much the blood, but it could have been blood as well. I mean, because if you got such a tight enough squeeze, it don't matter if it's under the chin or not. If you have the right angle and you're still cutting off that artery, it could have happened that way too. But yeah, I mean, Shavkat looked legit. I mean, like I said, it wasn't the best start. It wasn't like he just came in here to start like destroying, but I mean, he won both rounds. I mean, he definitely, he's rising. I mean, they're talking about him getting the next title shot. We'll see if he jumps the line and skips Bilal. I mean, he has a big buzz. Leon and Bilal fought before. Bilal made weight. He was a backup for the main event in this fight and this on last night on this card. So yeah, so I mean, Dana I think has been on record and said that Bilal's next, but we'll see what happens with that. They always change their mind with that stuff, so we'll see what's up with that one. Yeah, so that brings us to the flyweight co-main event for the championship. Alexander Pantoja and Brandon Royval. There's a rematch. And that was it. Start off as a good banger. I mean, like Pantoja comes out like he's a savage, man, a straight zombie in there, like ate a headshot, ate a knee. I mean, because Royval did look good in spurts, but I think Pantoja with the takedowns and stuff like that, he was able to impose his will on the ground a little more, and stifle kind of what Royval likes to do. But like striking wise, like look, total strikes 281 out of 390 for Royval, 72%. That's freaking high. For 126 and 195, 64% for Pantoja. Significant strikes, 95 for Pantoja, 111 for Royval. So, I mean, that showed that how close this fight was, even though it was like a 50-45 unanimous decision, I think. Or, I feel like there was a round, or there's probably a round that you could give to Royval. I mean, it was really competitive every round, but Pantoja he's always a step ahead on the ground. And he hits a lot harder, and he did rock Royval a couple of times. And yeah, I mean, with it, he just has devastating power. He had 8 out of 14 takedowns as well. So I mean, and does damage and won a submission attempt. Only 0 for 1 takedowns for Royval. So that just shows 8. That's a lot of takedowns, and he does do damage. He does advance position. I mean, he had good positions a lot with Royval. But Royval showed that, honestly, like, he was not wore out. He was the fresher of the two fighters I felt in the last 2 rounds. Yeah, Pantoja is another guy who throws everything with bad intentions, trying to knock your head off and with a lot of power. And like I said, just eating that freaking vicious knee straight to the jaw, ate a head kick and just got the takedown right after that. Like, unbelievable, So... Pantoja gets that unanimous decision, keeps his bout. Entertaining fight. I mean, it went to decision. I mean, there were some times where the crowd was booing, because of a lot of the groundwork, a lot of the casual fans, I guess I should say. So I was like, man, you guys are savages. It's still a good fight. Like, because we got so spoiled for the first 5 fights were all finishes. So it's like just everything after that was like, boo, some guys just like, but that fight, that was great. I mean, it was a good fight. I thought it wasn't the best, obviously everyone wants to see a finish. Everyone wants to just see toe-to-toe action, but it was a good fight. I mean, it went back and forth, even though Pantoja, he was a clear winner, even though he got outstruck, but just he was able to impose his will a little more. Royval, when he did let off, that's when he looked good with his combos, quick hands, and stuff like that, quick combos and power. You could tell he was actually rocking Pantoja somewhat when he started piecing him up for, later in the fight when he got the chance. So I was thinking, man, he didn't even get wore out on the ground. I mean, that just shows how much Royval, how good he is, because he still looked good in the last 2 rounds. It's just Pantoja is just a little bit, they're like right here. Me and Pantoja was just got a little bit better. That was it. You could tell he won the fight. So I wouldn't have been surprised if it was like 3-2 either way, but it ended up they all gave it to Pantoja, all the judges. And that, actually, I was gonna say that brings us to the main event, but the real main event was Sean Strickland against Dricus du Plessis, DDP, in the crowd, and they were sitting right across from us, right in front of the cage, and we were a little bit raised up, actually, the top of the front, or the second little section, section 11 or whatever, but we were like right there, so we had a good view. We could kind of see, but I went to the damn bathroom at that time, so I didn't know. I took my son for his birthday. So he was there, and he was like, all right, you came back, you missed it. Like, someone was telling me, like, hey, you missed it before, because I went to take a leak. I was walking back. Hey, they're just fighting like that. Like, what? Because we were sitting next to a guy. This is like crazy coincidence. We live out in Redlands. We're from us two were there in Redlands. The guy sitting next to me, he was there by himself, actually. I can't remember his name, but we were yapping it up the whole fight. He was from Ontario. And then there was a crew of like 4 or 5 guys, or 2, 3 or 4 guys and girls, a couple girls, ladies that were there, lovely ladies. They were from Riverside. So I was like, that's weird. All that same little general area on the same section, and and we're just partying it up, laughing, and it was a great time. Actually, it was unbelievable. But going back to Dricus, I guess Dricus was sitting like 2 rows, and Dana has admitted he come out and admitted that this was his fuck up, his bad. Oh, I shit the bed. He shit the bed. Like, it's kind of common sense, though. Maybe he thought they would behave themselves because it's an event, like a huge event and all that. They're at the UFC, but yeah, Sean Strickland was sitting like maybe 2 seats or so in front of Dricus, and these guys are gonna fight next month, January 20th, I believe, the first pay-per-view of next year, 2024, and then so they guys they were mouthing off a little bit, and this is how sociopathic or just. It's like he's a crazy dude, Sean Strickland, but he still has the present mind and the decency to ask like Gilbert Burns and his kids to like kind of move over, because he'll sit next to them, like kind of move over, and then he jumps over and just starts pounding on Dricus, and Dricus kind of snuck a right hand in there. I've seen footage, I've seen some people, he knocked him out because it took a minute for Sean to get up, from it, because Sean got on top and he was just just pounding him real quick. And Dricus kind of seemed like he grabbed on, but then he kind of ducked his head and just snuck one in. I see multiple angles where he caught him kind of clean, and he fell backwards, but I won't say he dropped him or knocked him out. Some people are saying he got knocked out. I don't think it was that, because he did get up, and they got separated after that. But literally, like, Sean was just got on top and was just going crazy on him. And yeah, so basically had a street fight type situation right there. That was an extra fight. That was a real main fight. I think Sean Strickland definitely landed more punches than Kobe, and that, where he threw more significant strikes, I should say, anyway. And even Dricus, he landed that big shot. And I don't know, like Usman was right there. There's a bunch of people right there. Seeing Brandon Moreno was sitting right there too. Like I said, Gilbert Burns, all those guys are kind of in that section. So yeah, who knows what's gonna happen? Those guys are gonna scrap it out. I can't wait. It's gonna be unbelievable. That fight's gonna be crazy now. Now it's kind of like, damn, Dricus, like, I know he's gonna try to grapple him, and his ground and pound, man. If he could, that's gonna be another video. But if he could do that to what he did to the Reaper, if he could do that, that's crazy. If he could do that type of ferocious ground and pound, that could be not good for Strickland. But Strickland's, we haven't really seen his grappling, so we know it's good. We hear he spars all the damn time, and he's just a beast everywhere. But we haven't actually seen it so much in the cage, because he likes to stand and box basically, and kick and check kicks. So that fight's gonna be crazy. That'll be will Dricus have the gas tank to go with a 5-round? Because Sean has great cardio. Don't throw a lot on his punches, and Dricus kind of throws everything with huge power. Like I said, good wrestler, kind of, explosive, stuff like that, So, yeah, I'll have to talk about that fight another time because that brings us to the main event, Kobe Chaos Covington against Leon Rocky Edwards. And I don't know what happened here. Like I said, Kobe just totally shit the bed, did not show up. Not to take anything away from Leon. Congrats to Leon. He did his thing somewhat. Like I said, it wasn't anything crazy impressive, and I got a lot of like people talking crap on Twitter because I don't want to say, like I said, like this was my tweet was like, like congrats to Leon. I don't think he looked like a world beater. It's just he did a little more than Kobe, who didn't do much. And I just felt like that was a take. I mean, Kobe did not fight for the first 3 rounds. He didn't do anything. He attempted a takedown like in the first two, I think, and it wasn't even like he didn't commit to the takedown. It was like the guy in front of me was saying, like he's one and done. Like he was going for one shot. That was it. Usually, Kobe has a relentless wrestling pace, chaining it together. Multiple attacks, just constantly, just like I said, relentless. All over you, all over his opponent. Like literally, he's done to everybody other than Usman and Edwards. Not to take anything away from Edwards. Obviously, he's worked on his takedown defense. He's fought nothing but wrestlers these last few times, so he's leveled up. But big time. I mean, I'm not even trying to say that. What I'm saying is Kobe wasn't even pushing that pace. Like from the start, he had that. There's that meme now of, him and I think it's one of these Disney girls. I don't know who. I can't think who it is, but they got their hands up just like weird, and just the way they're standing straight up, like they never boxed before, and there's a meme about that. So like Kobe comes in, shakes Donald Trump's hand, whatever, does a little roll, gets in there, and you can see him warming up. And I don't know, man, he just did not come out immediately going backwards, letting Leon, because Leon wasn't throwing much either. He just was kind of fainting a little. Just Kobe was not doing anything. He was going backwards. This is the first fight where you see Kobe going backwards. Even Usman, who's a great wrestler, and really, Kobe took him down one time in both, out of both fights, but they didn't count it, even though he was down for like a second or two. He wasn't able to hold him down, but still, it wasn't like he out-wrestled Usman, obviously, but he was able to at least meet him in the center of the cage and stand his ground there and just throw bombs. They basically had a kickboxing match, two world-class wrestlers, so they were just, a great cardio, so that was a war. Everybody knows that first fight was a war. Even the second fight was great too, went 5 rounds. And so he was able to meet him in the middle. Here, he was backing up the whole time. And Edwards, he did land some hard leg kicks, like from in the first couple of rounds that you could tell. I mean, I didn't really see how damaging it was to Kobe till later when he got you could see his leg was fucked up. He was all bruised up. After the fight, he put ice packs on both knees. I don't know if that was an injury, pre-existing injury. He hasn't said anything about that, but, or if that was just from the leg kicks. But because it definitely wasn't from the takedown attempts, because he only attempted 10 himself. Kobe only attempted 10 takedowns. I literally thought this was a safe bet. I should have put it would go to decision, but I felt like if it was going to go to decision, that means Kobe implemented his game plan and just smothered him, outpaced him, outworked Leon, got the takedowns, all of that. That's what I was thinking. That's the only way that it would make sense for that to be a decision, like Leon wouldn't win a decision. But no, I mean, Kobe just didn't do much of anything for 3 rounds. Went for kind of grabbed the leg in the first round, let it go immediately, like as soon as Leon gave a little resistance. And I'm thinking too, Leon must be strong as shit. You know what I mean? Like his leg kicks, it didn't seem like he landed that many, but they did some damage there. And as far as just like in power situations, like where Kobe usually gets the advantage, like Edwards was able to reverse him a couple of times and even got his back in the 5th or the 4th. But either way, he was able to kind of wrestle with Kobe, and a lot of people say out wrestle. And there were spurts where he did out wrestle, where he got 2 takedowns himself on Kobe. I think one was kind of more like a reversal, but the other one was just a straight. He kind of just shot on him and just got him down. So that was kind of crazy to see, but either way, anytime you could see there was any kind of threat, I think he went for a Darce at one point on Kobe. Kobe was just able to spin out of it, just spat, wrestle out of it, basically with because Kobe is a great scrambler when it comes to wrestling. Usually he's a step ahead of his opponents, but it kind of seemed like he was just not pulling the trigger even on the wrestling until it became a situation where he had to do something. And so he would muscle out of it or just, like I said, roll out of it or whatever, get out of it with movement, basically just explode, So on the scrambles, Kobe always kind of did get the better of it. It was kind of like he did get that extra level, and the 2 takedowns that Kobe did have, they were pretty nice, and it looked almost easy. And he got in dominant positions right away. I mean, he had 5 minutes of control time. So like stats wise, if you look at it, it almost looks like, damn, Kobe, there's an argument that he won this fight. I mean, he landed 109 out of 194, that was 66 for 116 out of Leon Edwards, but the numbers aren't all, like Leon did land more significant strikes. He landed a head kick that kind of hit back of the head a little, side, back of the head, and Kobe just pretty much ate it, whatever, and he landed a big punch in the first round, like kind of like in his neck area. So, I mean, that kind of won him that round because nothing was really happening. But that was a significant strike that Leon won landed in the first, and the kick maybe in the second or third. Like I said, the first 3 rounds, I was just kind of like, it's 3-0 Edwards. Like against Usman, Kobe kind of came out a little flat, in their second fight, and he kind of took the first 2 rounds off, got rocked by Usman, and then the last 3 rounds, you could argue that Kobe won all 3 of those. Great comeback. But it might have been too little, too late type thing or whatever. And this fight, it's like he didn't really start until the 4th round. And the 4th round, they still, because all 3 judges gave it to 49-46 to Edwards. They only gave Kobe the 5th. So even though the 4th round was close, they still gave it to Edwards. Kobe wasn't able to. I mean, I thought he could have won that round. I think it was like, I thought it was 3-2 Edwards. Or something like that. I mean, I could see 4-1 as well. Like if they gave that one, because I think that might have been a round where he had Kobe's back and threatened to choke or something, had the body triangle locked or something like that. So he did do. He was holding his own that round. It could have went either way on that round. Because Kobe did get some control time. He got a takedown, and finally, in the 4th round. And I'm just like, man, just like as a Kobe fan of his fight style anyway, not obviously not the stupid character bullshit, but. Like as far as the WWE shit, I'm not into that. But as far as his fighting style, he's one of my favorite fighters to watch, because he's always brings war. He's always bringing the pace, always pushing it. And this fight, he just shit the bed. And it's like you just level down after all that shit talking, coming in like a freaking, looking like George Washington, whatever, talk shit about a dad, dead dad, like that. Like I'm saying, I'm over all that stick, you know what I'm saying? And then to come in here and just do that. This makes me think maybe he's just not the same fighter. He took 2 years off, 35 years old. I mean, he's in his prime taking those years off. Masvidal, I mean, he did get rocked against Usman in both fights of their fights, and then got cracked in the street against Masvidal. I'm just thinking, damn, Masvidal take his soul with that too? I mean, was he more messed up than they were leading us to believe? We don't know because they didn't really say anything like what happened. So who knows how messed up his head really was. Like maybe he's just don't have it anymore where he wants to be that aggressive, or he just afraid he doesn't want to get hit. I don't know, because it just seemed like he was so tentative in there, at least for the first 3 rounds. He was throwing. Obviously, like I said, if you look at stats, it almost looks like 2 out of 10 takedowns. Outstruck him by like 40. A lot of those were those little rabbit punches. But the story was like, I had money on him winning, but it was kind of like me and my son both had money on him winning. It was kind of like it would have to be like it'd have to be a bad decision for Kobe to get this, like not the worst decision, but a bad decision, like just there's no way they're taking it from Leon on that fight. I mean, so I don't think Leon looked like so great. I think Bilal Muhammad would have beat both those guys that night, just with that performance and how much he's improved. So, I mean, that's just Aaron Shavkat maybe as well. So, I mean, and, we got to see what's next for Kobe. He's got to go back to the drawing board. Maybe he shouldn't have took a 5-round championship fight from coming back after a 2-year layoff, after, getting that street fight incident. I mean, maybe he should have just took a 3-rounder first. I'm not saying tune-up, but everyone's hard in this division. And, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see how far he drops after this one, after that performance. Just totally shit the bed, did not show up, disgraceful. Like I said, our level of fan, I went down a little just because, like I said, even Tony Ferguson, he showed more heart. He had no quit in him. Kobe finished strong, but you can't act like there should have been more sense of urgency. You had a good position in that 5th round. You were just content and just staying in half guard and throwing these little rabbit punches to the body. Yeah, they count, but they weren't so significant. You should have been trying to land some bombs, or I don't know. I think it was too little, too late. If he had started that way in the 1st, 2nd round, then yeah, that's Kobe's fight. This was a perfect matchup for Kobe to get the title, to the belt. He's never going to get another title shot after this. He's not the finish. He's not going to go out and do like what Josh Emmett did and go get a devastating knockout. I mean, this was his fight to. This was tailor made for him, you know, like to get the belt. I thought just the matchup wise, you know, not taking anything from Edwards, but like I thought Kobe was going to do what he did to Masvidal in this fight. I thought there was either that or Edwards was going to knock him out. You know, he did land the head kick. He did, you know, I thought his power would it would be something like that. Like, you know, Leon would win in the first 3 rounds maybe, or if it goes to the championship rounds, that means Kobe's taking over, and he kind of did in the last round. But I mean, that's just like Nate Diaz. Like, well, if there's 6 rounds, he's undefeated. You know what I mean? So it's like just. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what's next for Kobe. This was horrible, you know, for him, and just another loss, and he's going to drop some. I mean, and they're talking about him fighting Shavkat. I don't think that matchup makes sense because, you know, Shavkat's coming off a big win with Wonder Boy. Why would they give him Kobe, who just lost? I can see maybe Wonder Boy Kobe because they both lost. Maybe that's a fight he should have took on to come back instead of going straight to Leon Edwards. Like I said, Edwards must be strong as shit, man. Like kick hard and all that because Kobe was super tentative in there, couldn't pull the trigger, but also just Edwards was talking. You know, he's a big welterweight. Kobe not so much. He don't cut much weight. He's basically fighting at his own weight. You know, Leon Edwards is talking about going up to 185 and contending for that belt. So, I mean, he's big. He's huge. There's a size difference there. You can tell he's strong. But I just never seen Kobe get backed up like that from the start. And when he wanted to push the issue, he could get the takedown or out scramble. It just was too little, too late, and definitely not enough. I mean, like I said, congrats to Leon, but people were pissed off. You know, the whole arena was, let's go, Kobe. You know, everyone was chanting Kobe. You know, like, not everybody, you know, obviously he has a shitload of haters, but, you know, everyone, you could hear that in the crowd. Let's go. You got a chant going, and he just did not do anything, you know. It's like in front of Donald Trump. Maybe it was the pressure of everyone, all that. He hadn't had that before. He's usually the heel, but I don't know. He usually does get a lot big response. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Maybe Edwards was that good. Maybe hit that hard. You know, whatever he was doing. I mean, Edwards was smart not to engage too much because it didn't leave an opening for Kobe to get takedowns. You know, he wasn't like doing too much leg kicks in here and there, but he wasn't throwing a lot of shit where Kobe could get a hold of him. Maybe that was a game. Maybe that was a game plan because, like I said, they both didn't look like they wanted to finish the fight. You know, I mean, Leon threw a head kick or two, landed the one, but I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of that Kobe. I mean, I don't see him beating anybody in the top 10, honestly. So I mean, I don't. He's got to reevaluate his situation. I mean, what's next for him? Maybe a Calvin Gastelum, maybe. You know, I mean, that might be a. I don't know. It might be a good matchup for him just because of the pace. But you should Gastelum hits like a truck, has good boxing, and you know, usually good wrestling. But Sean Brady was just that just shows the level of Sean Brady. But yeah, so yeah, that's it. That's all I got for this video. Amazing night of fights. It did end like as soon as the fight ended, people were bouncing, and I was just kind of like, man, I don't even want to hear this stupid speech. I don't want to hear what Kobe says because I knew he was gonna be like, oh, Trump, or you know, it's because of Trump, or I thought I won the fight. It's like, man, you can't leave it in the hands of the judges. You can't just jump up like you won that fight. Like, yeah, right, dude. Like, come on, you did not do enough, regardless of what the stats say. Like I said, the stats don't tell what really happened in that fight. It was crazy. It was still in shock for it a little bit. Just not because, like I said, I don't care. Like I said, I wanted Kobe to win, bet on it. But even if I would rather see him get knocked out than not show up to fight. I mean, I'd rather see just going all out and a war or whatever, just a good fight. Either way, whoever wins, the outcome wasn't annoying. It was just the performance. Like it wasn't his best, you know. And maybe he just doesn't have it anymore, or got old overnight, or maybe it was just a bad night. Who knows? It could have just been a bad night, but this was the matchup for him to take the belt. So nothing but killers behind him, you know, and now in front of him. So yeah, that's all I got. Like, subscribe.